Kal halal la Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Waha Raha Kwadash. All praises and glory go to you, Lord. Double honors and respect go to our apostles, bishops, elders, and teachers, the men of great millstone. To you I say, Shalom. Salutations to the hopeful elect. It's your brother Amraya, and let's get it. There's news today coming out about Syria falling into the hands of an ex-Al-Qaeda leader. And as those of you in the truth already understand, that the West is the one who have set up Al-Qaeda and other so-called terrorist organizations as their go-between in the Middle East, okay? This was also telegraphed by a general, which I'm going to play that snippet for you here in just a moment, because we're dealing with the nation of Esau Edom, the so-called self-proclaimed white man in the world. And he is insatiable. He can never have enough. So his eyes are covetous, okay? And he's looking to take that which does not belong to him by any means necessary, all right? So in this situation, he is elected to go through the side window. Before we get into the snippets I have for you today, this is Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 12 and verse 10. It says, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and you shall be unto him as if you hadst wiped a looking glass, and you shall know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away," right? He's always plotting wickedness because wickedness is at his core. All right. I'm going to skip down to verse 13. It says, "Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any such as come nigh wild beasts? So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sins, who will pity? For a while he will abide with you, but if you begin to fall, he will not tarry. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagined how to throw you into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find an opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. If adversity come upon you, you shall find him there first, and though he pretend to help you, yet shall he undermine you." Let's take a look at the snippet.
About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me, and one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, No. He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They've just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office, today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran." The truth is about the Middle East is, had there been no oil there, it would be like Africa. Nobody is threatening to intervene in Africa. The problem is the opposite. We keep asking for people to intervene and stop it. And there's no question that the presence of petroleum throughout the region has sparked great power involvement.
And there's no question that the presence of petroleum throughout the region has sparked great power involvement.
Whether that was the specific motivation for the coup or not, I can't tell you, but there was definitely, there's always been this attitude that somehow we could intervene and use force in the region.
Right. They telegraphed their move long before we got here. All right. And their plan was to topple the Middle East within 5 years and take all their resources, consume all their resources. But Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai threw a wrench in their plans. It has taken far longer for them to implement their agenda in that area. And they're coming in late. Okay, it's just simply put, they're coming in late. Now, today we hear news that Syria is fallen, so to speak. Damascus has fallen. But again, I remind you, Ecclesiasticus 12 and 17, if adversity come upon you, you shall find him there first. Who? The nation of Esau Edom, who is behind all the turmoil in the world today, okay? The world was given into the hand of the wicked. The wicked is the nation of Esau Edom. Period, point blank, end of discussion. Let's listen to Dabu 7 give his take on it, which is very close to the narrative that the general just painted.
This is Dabu 7, with the question arising, is this the main reason for war? Especially what we're seeing in Syria right now. It looks like Syria has fallen. Rebel leaders taking control of Damascus, announcing al-Assad regime has fallen. Assad apparently fleeing the country. This new leader taking the stage. And they're saying that he is a former al-Qaeda leader, which is all backed by the West. And I just can't understand how some people out there can't see it unless you're glued to your mainstream establishment TV that's feeding you rhetoric that you're consuming constantly. You cannot see that Israel, Turkey, and the United States back these so-called rebels on the ground every step of the way. You know, Trump's over here tweeting out this and that we should stay out of it, but yet we've got troops that are in there, and they're obviously backing this side, because on the other side is Assad, Russia, and, you know, the enemy as it is out here on the world stage. We're definitely not sitting on that side. So it's rather obvious. This pipeline becomes key to all this, if you ask me, because this is what they've wanted to do for a long time, is get this pipeline running up through Saudi Arabia that will cut through Syria, right here, through Turkey, which is in on this, and then into Europe. And Turkey will get, huge compensation for letting it go through their country. And this will be big for everyone that is in control of this region. They can then feed this area with energy. And you already know the West has bombed the Nord Stream pipeline, the one coming from Russia down into the area to feed Europe. So it's effectively trying to sever that line, and it will set up this new route. This is the proposed route right here for this pipeline. And it could never go down, never happen, unless they had control of this region. Now, if they're saying Assad has vanished, there was what seems to be false reports that they're floating around, that a plane went down that could have had him in it. That's a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas. There was no confirmations on none of that. It looks like he's in hiding, and it looks like he has negotiated to hand over power of the country. And this other guy's walked right in.
History made overnight as Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad is overthrown in a lightning move by rebel fighters. They are this morning inside the presidential palace, walking its huge halls, celebrating amid the abandoned luxury of the Assad regime. As outside, jubilation spreads on the streets of the capital. For a moment, few saw coming. Rebels declaring victory from the state TV studios, saying the city of Damascus has been liberated. The tyrant Bashar al-Assad has been toppled. The rebels seizing Damascus almost without a fight, as Assad's military appeared to evaporate. This Syrian military checkpoint left abandoned overnight, military uniforms left behind, scattered on the floor. Such scenes were unthinkable less than 2 weeks ago when the rebels launched a sudden offensive. That snowballed, and day after day, they overrun key cities. Assad, in power for 24 years, oversaw the brutal crushing of the revolution against his regime through nearly 14 years of civil war. He was propped up by allies Iran, Russia and Hezbollah, but he never completely regained the north, and Turkey has quietly supported the mix of Islamist rebel groups vying for power. Out of the carnage, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham emerged, and with Assad's allies distracted by wars in Ukraine, Gaza and Lebanon, the group appears to have taken its chance. An offshoot of al-Qaeda, its leader Abu Mohammed al-Gawlani now wants to project a more moderate image. The group solidifying its status as guardians of the revolution, on Saturday storming the city of Homs, birthplace of Syria's rebellion back in 2011. And they've released prisoners from Syria's infamous jails, where they'd languished for years for opposing the regime. Protesters chanting, "Long live Syria, down with al-Assad," setting fire to a poster of the Syrian president. The US and President Biden have been acting with caution, with no plans to intervene.
All right, we're coming down to the wire, okay? There are a few more prophecies that must crack off before the nation of Esau Edom, the so-called self-proclaimed white man, can be taken out of rulership, okay? He's going to be utterly decimated, utterly destroyed, utterly judged by Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, all right? Because he is evil, covetous, murderer, okay? Thief. Basically just an all-around evil entity. And the Heavenly Father has not okayed or sanctioned any of his behaviors. He's moving forward with his New World agenda, okay? But when he is about to fill his belly, the Heavenly Father is about to rain down upon him judgment through thermonuclear fire, through his armies being decimated, by gathering him into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat for that judgment for the great day of Yahweh. And that's coming soon. Right now, what you're witnessing is him trying to set up a system to cover his debts, all right? He's looking to rob Peter to pay Paul. And he's set up all these different coups. He's toppled governments. He's killed countless of people over there in that area, countless of people around the world, countless numbers of Israelites. It's about time to pay the piper. All right? His soul is not upright in him. It is time for righteous rulership, okay? Because when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn. But when the righteous are in authority, the people will rejoice, okay? And the Heavenly Father is about to set up that righteous government in the very near future. But we must go through that narrow pathway. All right, great affliction is coming. Jacob's trouble. The implementation of the MOT to the B, which is the micro C-HIP, the RFID micro C-HIP. The Third World's War. The Third Woe. All of that is coming down the pipeline very soon. But enough talk. I want to end out here in Habakkuk chapter 2, okay? And I'll begin at verse 6, because again, he's looking to rob Peter to pay Paul. And he being the nation of Esau Edom, all right? They're looking for a way out of this debt that they've covered themselves with. They're looking for a way to carry on their kingdom, all right? To keep living their lavish lifestyles. And they're going to continue to shed blood to provide for that lifestyle. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that laden himself with thick clay. All right, and thick clay means heavy debts, abayad in the Hebrew. Verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them, spoils of war? Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee because of men's blood. and for the violence of the land and of the city and all them that dwell therein. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Right. But if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Everything that you have done to the world will be done to you times two, Esau Edom. That's how it works. Okay. Verse 8. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and all that dwell therein. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Verse 10, okay. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity. Behold, it is not of Yahweh of hosts that the people shall labor in the very fire, and the people shall weary themselves for very vanity. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of Yahweh, as the waters cover the sea. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mightest look on their nakedness. Thou art filled with shame for glory. All right? You have shame for glory. The world, you have already been exposed, Esau Edom. The so-called self-proclaimed white man in the world, everyone knows you're the damn devil that the Bible speaks of. All right? You're about to be put into the hands of a cruel ruler. Isaiah 19. All right? So get ready. Get ready to get your asses beat. Get ready to receive that which you have been giving. For the violence, verse 17, for the violence of Lebanon shall cover you, and the spoil of beasts, which made them afraid because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land and of the city and all that dwell therein. We're going to end out here on verse 17, okay? Because the Heavenly Father is about to recompense all that you have done in the world. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Okay, Esau Edom? There's no escaping your judgment, so you might as well just go ahead and roll out your new world order, because the Heavenly Father is about to rain upon you, upon your own head, twice what you have been putting out in the world, which is bloodshed, murder, theft, robbery, and lies. Okay? Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood. Hopefully this has been edifying. Call halal la Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai for this message. Till the next time, Shalom.